Did you know that there are 5 distinct areas around the world where people are living to be 100 years old or older? They call them the Blue Zones, and today I'm talking to CEO of HonorHealth, Todd LaPorte, and Executive Director of Blue Zones Scottsdale, Sarah Kearney. And today we're talking about how to incorporate Blue Zones thinking into your life. It has all to do about moving, what you eat, your purpose in life, and getting connected to others. So I sure hope you enjoy hearing from Todd and Sarah right here. I'm super excited to have Todd and Sarah with me today on the podcast. We love all things health and wellness over here at Iconic Life. So, Sarah, as the Executive Director of Blue Zones Scottsdale, let me know how this initiative got started in our city, and let's talk about what's new.
Sure. Well, it's really because of the gentleman sitting next to me. So HonorHealth was really the champion in inviting Blue Zones into our community to assess and see if we'd be a good fit and it'd be a good partnership. And so, again, he could probably speak better to it in terms of how the vision first came and then how it came to life as well. But really honored to be a part of the project and bringing more health and more happiness into our community and creating just a stronger community together.
I love that. And this is all based off of Dan Buettner's book about Blue Zones. And he has created an incredible franchise with this. He's got the Blue Zones books, cookbooks, lifestyle books. He's got podcasts. He's got all sorts of things. And he's really talking about people around the world who have certain health habits. And in certain areas of the world, people are living very long, healthy, active lives due to their lifestyles. So, Todd, I'm going to have you chat a little bit about why HonorHealth got involved.
Well, you know, there's both a personal and a professional track here. So I had a heart attack back in 2013, and that got my attention. I call it the awakening.
Yeah.
And it led me through my recovery to various readings and learnings, and I stumbled across Blue Zones. And it resonated with me, and it was consistent with some things that I was also reading about that were maybe a little bit more clinical. And I realized that there was change was in order. When it was broad-based, it wasn't one thing. It wasn't just nutrition. It wasn't just exercise. It was a very holistic view, what we'll now call, say, whole health.
Yeah.
And so that got me introduced. And I was a convert, but then there was an outreach from the Blue Zones national folks that said, we really think there's room for a project in Arizona. And I said, well, funny you should approach me, because I would say you may have had me at hello.
Yeah.
And so we started to talk about how HonorHealth being involved in a community project, in particular Scottsdale, where we were headquartered, would just be a natural fit. Our mission is to improve the health and well-being of those we serve. Well, this is kind of putting your money where your mouth is. It's
right.
Like, are you going to engage with your community up front as opposed to just waiting for when people are ill or vulnerable? And so it was really a mindset change away from just sick care, but well care. And it fit with the trajectory our organization was going on. We were starting to get into even actual payer contracts that would put us at risk for the utilization of care, how people were taking care of themselves, and then thus how we were executing on helping them along the way. Mm-hmm. And so it made sense from, if you will, just the business model, but it really mostly made sense just in terms of its connection with our mission. Yeah. And that's how we wanted to be viewed by the community, that we were engaging on helping them be well.
Yeah, makes so much sense. We have such an active, vibrant community here, and we live in a place where you can be active pretty much almost year-round. And so people come here because they like to be active. And so active people like to be healthy and active. And so that's why I think this is such a good fit for Scottsdale. Sarah, would you chat a little bit? Let's talk about the components of blue zones. So what are the factors that are causing these people in the blue zones, and some of the factors that are in play here now in Scottsdale of the blue zones? There's a couple that are like core beliefs.
Sure. So in all of that research, as you mentioned, around Dan Buettner and the studies that he's been doing over the course of the last 25 years, he's uncovered those longest lived places. So whether it was Okinawa or Ikaria or Sardinia, Nicoya in Costa Rica, or Loma Linda, California, what they found was that there was 9 common lifestyle principles that were really rooted in their longevity. And it was not only their environments that shaped, but the lives that they were living every day. And so we break them really simply into 4 kind of categories. Yeah. So one is, as most would guess, natural movement. So not necessarily the latest in craze of a workout trend or pumping iron or running marathons, but rather just making sure you're moving throughout your day in the simple nudges of life, of whether that was gardening or walking to your neighbors or sitting and standing up throughout the day. Very, very simple, just movement incorporated. And then eating wisely, so adding more fruits and vegetables, legumes, beans, plants onto your plate in addition to everything else that's filling your plate, so you get all of the nutritional value that you need, as well as also stopping when we're 80% full. And that comes from a mantra in Okinawa, really around every time Okinawans sit around the table and sit down for a meal, they have hara hachibu, which is, okay, stop when I'm 80% full. And that could be the differentiator between maintaining, gaining, and losing weight.
Yep. And Dan talks about small plates.
Yes, small plates. Yeah. So that also helps us mindfully eat instead of mindlessly eat. So things like that, when we see a small plate that is plentiful and full, that even tells our brain that that looks like a big portion. If we were to see a big plate with a tiny portion on it, that's telling our brain, well, where's the rest of my food? Yeah. So there is some of that psychological mindset as we're eating as well. And then kind of the last one in our Eat Wisely category incorporates wine at 5. And so in the majority of the blue zones, 1 to 2 glasses an evening with food and friends and family, that equated to longevity and some of the longest lived people in a variety of the blue zones. So those 2, I think, are areas, right? We talk about it. Eat wisely, move naturally, but the other components that we don't want to forget really are around having the right outlook. So when we know our purpose and the reason why we wake up every day, and we have a reason to get out of bed every day, that could add years to our life. And that's a really important component. Another component, as we think about downshifting and stress relief and taking time to relax and rejuvenate, we're not really programmed that way. It's go, 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 go. And we're very stressed out. And while I'm not a doctor, I certainly know there's a lot of stress-related chronic diseases that are out there that if we can help manage that early on or at any stage of our life, then that's going to equate to some positive health outcomes for us. And then lastly, that last section really is around connection and community. And so when we look at what a strong community we already have and how we can even make it even better, when we look at putting our family first, having that positive pack of people around you that also, like you mentioned, healthy and active lifestyles, when we've got those neighbors that want to live that way, we're all making positive, healthy choices together. And that's really important. Having that sense of belonging comes along with that. So doesn't mean any one lifestyle principle is better than the other, but to Todd's point too, a really whole health, holistic approach of all of the components are really important.
Right. Totally. It makes so much sense. And I think the Blue Zones is the first one to talk about the importance of social connection. And so people who are home alone and not connected to people, you know, there's so much positive benefit by being surrounded by the energy of wonderful people in your life. And so whenever I think of the Blue Zones, I think of some of the pictures in Dan's book of some of the people in Sardinia, and I think I'm moving to Sardinia. Like, how could you not want to go to Sardinia? And there they are walking to the local grocery, and they're gardening, and they're spending evenings cooking with friends. And how could that not be so good for you? So I love that this is in Scottsdale, and this is elevated the conversation. And for people to know, we are not an actual blue zone yet. The blue zones are the ones you just named, but that we are working to become blue zone certified, and that we want to, as many partners are coming together, bring people in this community to support getting our community moving and all of that. So, Todd, would you talk a little bit about what some of the community initiatives are, and how can people get involved?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it starts at home, right? So I have started a neighborhood walking moai, and it's so fun. I'd like to say hello to all my neighbor friends. Yeah. We've all gotten to know each other this last year by virtue of every other Saturday morning going for a walk together. And we're having conversations and finding out about each other. And then it's also, it comes back to home that HonorHealth has committed to a certification process as a work site. So our own employees are participating in things like purpose workshops, our cafeterias and our catered events are being mindful of Blue Zone's nutritional tips. And
I have to ask about that because this is a hot button for me. So I was at a hospital in another system, you are so glad to know, and was visiting a family member, and then wandered down, slightly horrified, but what I saw in the cafeteria at the hospital. And it was not HonorHealth, but I just was flabbergasted. Yeah. So I know I've interrupted you here, but I have to know, what are you doing in your cafeteria?
Well, no.
Hot button
so
for me.
It starts with, you don't just cut off things that people are used to, but you evolve over time where they get used to an option, a choice, and you make it attractive for them to choose that other thing, how you display it, even what it costs, all these things. And so we are over time, I think, changing behavior to the benefit of our own employees' well-being.
Yeah.
But it's even things like, how do we make it enticing to use the stairwell, and make that natural movement a part of even our employees' lives while they're at work. So
yeah, I like that.
Lots of initiatives. I think we're more than 60% along the way through that worksite certification process. Another thing I'll mention is that the Blue Zones has beget an evolution of this community project. So HonorHealth, I'm really excited to announce that Dr. Shad Marvasti, allopathically trained physician from Stanford, is going to be helping us launch an integrative health and lifestyle medicine institute.
Ooh.
So we have a new facility that's along the 101 that'll be opening, and it's all about wellness and with some sports medicine aspect to it. But it's going to be a facility where people can work out, but access integrative health, things like yoga, meditation, teaching kitchen. It's really going to keep promoting, in effect, the lifestyle medicine principles that are embedded in the Blue Zones. So we're just really excited. We're taking this to another level. In fact, I'd characterize it as where clinical care is very focused on that one-on-one patient interaction, which is core, but now with this new institute and the Blue Zones, it's looking at things from a community-wide perspective, almost a public health. Now we're even dealing with the environment that we're in and how it can make it easy, if you will, to live a good lifestyle.
Yeah. So I love this new institute. So will people also have medical appointments there, or will it house a lot of professionals that are kind of under this integrative?
It's going to be a mixed model. It'll have aspects of a membership model, almost like a gym membership, but it'll also have aspects of caregivers can refer people into this and to access very specific treatments or services, if you will, that are in effect sort of retail, some of which are even actually covered by insurance. We're starting to see that evolve a little bit, where CMS and the, if you will, kind of a MAHA movement is wanting to support us getting ahead of the curve, helping people be well rather than just waiting for them to be sick.
Yep.
So it's going to be a little of all those, a little retail, a little membership model, and even just good old-fashioned insurance billing.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, that's an innovative idea.
Yes.
That's going to be super excited. So what's the time frame for that?
We are looking to launch our new center, if you will, in the late spring, maybe even April, May-ish timeframe of 2026.
Oh, that's great. So that it's obviously under construction, so I can see it on the 101.
It's a beautiful facility already.
Where is it? It's on the...
It's not far from Talking Stick.
Okay.
And it's on the west side of the 101.
Okay, awesome. Very exciting.
Yes.
So in addition to that, what are some other programs? So if somebody listened to this podcast and they said, you know what, it's time. I am really excited to change what I'm doing, and I need, a network of people that are like-minded in their thinking about wellness. How would they break into some of these programs that are available?
So I'm going to turn over to Sarah, because I think she'll be able to get a lot of insights. But I got to tell you, there's just one thing I am super excited about.
Yay.
That Sarah and her team introduced into our community project, I think sooner than others, and it's the volunteer zone. So I'll tee you up with that at least, Sarah.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you.
I just sent that to my mom, by the way.
Good. Yeah, so you know all about it, but we're really proud to have launched the Volunteer Zone, which is really intended to be a volunteer clearinghouse for our community to get engaged and activated in the volunteer space. And so what that provides is us the ability to have something that's left behind for this community in a way that is so meaningful and powerful that when the organizations who need volunteers have a centralized place that they can go, and then our community members have the ability to access it, see what's available, and see what fits with what they're looking to do and how they can give back. So that just launched within the last month. We're really excited to just keep generating more opportunities and also keep driving more community members to get engaged and volunteering. But some of the other programs that are so wonderful, and some of them, we just don't know if they're going to work or if people are going to like them, and so we try out a lot of different things and see what and how the community responds to it. Some of the best response that we've seen are some of the walking moais, like Todd talked about in his own neighborhood, really empowering people of the community to get started on their own to create these opportunities. But oftentimes we help them get going, or we host something as the example, and then they can take it into the environments that they spend the most time to then activate their neighbors, their colleagues, their friends, their family members to get engaged. And that is really, in essence, what we want to do, is be able to provide the tools, the resources, the information that can get everybody going, but then they're able to do it indefinitely because it's now woven as part of their everyday life and in the spaces and places they spend the most time. So purpose workshops, cooking demonstrations, nutrition skills, these are all things that we offer at no cost, thanks to the generosity of our sponsor organizations, so that there's access for everyone to be able to participate and even take it and make it their own and activate their own environments to do so.
I love that. Wonderful. So what will be the journey for Scottsdale? So is the end goal to get a certification? What is this path that we're on?
Yes. So we are about halfway through our project. And so it is moving very, very quickly, but we are right on target. So the total scope of work for our Scottsdale project is 4 years, 9 months. 4 of those years is transformation. And we are just about wrapping up with our second year of transformation and right where we need to be in reaching all of the criteria. So we're looking right now, our current contract with HonorHealth and our partners goes through about the end of 2027, which that is the current North Star goal, to reach that community certification. So there's a variety of metrics and criteria that we have to accomplish according to Blue Zones in order to be validated and credentialed as a certified community.
That's awesome. So once we get there, how do we keep the movement going?
Well, I don't know. You want to take this one? Because I wish I had the crystal ball, but maybe he does.
Well, you know what? I don't think this is one of those things that just ends, right?
Yeah.
I know that the demeanor of Blue Zones is how to empower a community to make it sustainable, right? Kind of teach us how to fish for ourselves. But we have already begun dialogue with the Blue Zones National Organization on how to keep evolving this, where playing off the momentum, it moves into the realm, like I've already seeded, into what we'll call Blue Zones Health. And so we are beginning to have discussions about if we have patients that come into our system and we can see they're in need. It could be Medicare patients. It could be our own employees. It could be really anyone. We can direct them into our institute, into Blue Zones resources in a way in which it could be perhaps we could get them a wellness coach. Perhaps it would be we could direct them into this kinds of services that Sarah alluded to. And now it becomes this, regular part of our healthcare offerings.
Yeah.
And so I think this will have a long shelf life. And then what we do with Community Project and keep going on that, I think we'll just have to see how far did we get. We may even reach certification, but that's not good enough.
Right.
It may be that this needs to continue having attention.
Yes. I mean, as we were discussing, it's one of the most important things. You can achieve wealth in your life, but if you don't have health, then you really have nothing. How are you going to enjoy that? So wealth or health really is the greatest wealth. Yeah. And so I can't imagine that once people get on a trajectory, they would say, okay, we've done this for 4 years and 9 months. And now let's, once you create some energy and some habits around things, then the wheel can keep turning. So absolutely. I think it's really important for our community. And I do think that all around us, the mass media is even supporting a lot of content around health and wellness. And I think we're thinking a lot about, how we live and how we can take good care of ourselves. And so I think it's a very important initiative and it's exciting to see where it could go. Now I've got a question for people that maybe aren't quite ready for Volunteer Zone or aren't quite ready to start a neighborhood walk. Some people start very slowly with information products. Is there a daily message, a weekly newsletter? Is there something that could start to educate people on what's happening and kind of slowly move them towards the movement?
Of course there is.
Of course there is. That's why I asked you.
Yeah, and that's where it comes back down to personal choice and responsibility. Yeah. And if you're in that place where you're ready to get started, no matter what the starting point is, that's where we want to meet you where you're at to be able to help you and not make it an overhaul of your whole entire life tomorrow. It just doesn't work like that. And so, yes, there are so many great resources. Blue Zones nationally has a wonderful newsletter. We locally have a newsletter that's monthly. There's a volunteer newsletter, but there's even things like a personal pledge. And you can take a look at that. And it's a checklist of a variety of different things that you can incorporate into your life. And sometimes it might be, I'm just going to pick one of these things to focus on and see how it makes me feel after I do it for a while. And I think that's where it's really eye-opening to see the great impact that, to your point, right? Once you continue to do things and it becomes habit and just second nature, we don't have to think about it so hard because we're just living this way every day.
Yeah.
So lots of great resources on our website at bluezonesprojectscottsdale.com and bluezones.com with even recipes and things that make it very accessible to learn different and new tricks and tips on healthy living. And what I love best is that most of them are intended to be very simple.
They're very simple.
Yeah,
so we cook with the cookbook. Yeah.
Yes. And that's also what makes it accessible when there's the simplicity to it of, really, if I do that, is it going to make that big of an impact or change in my life? And surprisingly, the answer is yes.
It's so interesting how small things can make a big difference. Yeah.
I'd like to add to Sarah that Blue Zones is even extrapolated into other realms here, right? So they now have a Blue Zones kitchen line of products, which are delicious, by the way. And I've been teasing the Buetners, you ought to now have a sitcom to follow up your Netflix series.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed in the community response is this is world peace. How can you be against it?
Yes.
Right? It's just such a positive thing.
Yeah.
And people love gravitating to something that it just feels good. We're trying to do something good for ourselves and our community. So I just had to comment about that. And, in fact, I'll even comment about this. The detraction that I've heard has been, are we going to be taking away choice for people? And I would tell you, this is not a movement about limiting or eliminating choice.
Right.
quite the opposite. It's just making a healthy choice available, helping educate, and in the spirit of the best intentions for someone.
Right.
But this is all about free choice.
Right.
And the other thing is that, well, is this all based in science, right? Danny Buettner was a reporter for National Geographic. He studied, he saw very tangible things, did his homework, discovered, science as well.
Right.
It's not trying to purport itself as, this is the, journal of, this isn't JAMA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is, but science and research are catching up with it. And I think we're learning that, wow, these lifestyle medicine principles, these things that seem to have a positive impact on people's health, they're being validated by ongoing research.
Yep.
And I think we'll even get to be a part of that as well. We have our own research institute. There are things here where we can say, yes, this is truly proven that this is the stuff that really helps people.
And Dan Buettner and Blue Zones and HonorHealth are not the only ones studying this. So almost any book you can pick up today. So just finished Outlive by Peter Attia, just finished Good Energy by Casey Means. And every book that I pick up, I don't know where it happens in the book, but there's always a time we get to the part where it says, if you're going to do only one thing to be healthy, conscious movement, keep moving, right? Every book that says you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, everyone still says just keep moving. So the Blue Zones movement is validated by many other movements and many other conversations saying that who is ever going to say that getting up and walking and moving is not good for you?
So here's an ironic notion. So I've been having some problems with the lower back. I have started a physical therapy regimen. And my PT physical therapist is fantastic. A shout out to Kat Costello.
Yeah.
And what I've learned about myself is, as a 63-year-old man, that first of all, I found out that I'm hyper flexible, and so I'm more exposed to the risk that as we age, our muscles atrophy, and if you don't consciously engage in resistance training, muscle training, then if you are like I am, naturally, it's going to even be harder for me, right, to avoid pain in certain parts of my body. So we don't think about that we thought, our weight training was done when we were back in high school. It's actually more important to me now than it was even as an 18-year-old.
100%. And to add to that, on many podcasts, we've talked about this. So I feel like, in my 20s, I worked out only for vanity or to attempt to look my best, right? So that was all it was about. It was not about trying to be healthy at all.
Right.
And now it's work out to live.
Yeah.
It's just work out to live.
Yeah.
So, it's so interesting. And muscle training, as you were saying, again, every trainer, every doctor, every book, everybody is saying that building muscle later in life is one of the most important things.
And what's beautiful about it is that we're trying to promote to folks how you make it a natural part. So it's not, I've got to go into a gym and grab 50-pound weights and look at all these other people who are workout stars.
Yeah.
It is even as simple as I actually have tried to adopt one of the Okinawa traits, which is I will actually eat on the floor. And I noticed that, right, I'm getting up and down in a way that's working my core. That's the natural movement stuff.
Yeah, easy things.
Yeah.
It's so good. Well, so to wrap this up, certainly we know that the Blue Zones movement here in Scottsdale and around the world is changing lives. So Sarah, how has it changed your life? And Todd, how's it changed your life?
That's a great question. I have always been a high performer, overachiever, striving for perfection kind of person. And what Blue Zones has taught me personally and professionally is that perfection is not possible, and nor does it need to be. And in order for me to care for anyone else around me and serve my family and my community, and again, I'm here to serve, that in order for me to do that at my best, I have to take care of me. So I think I used to be in the mindset that was very selfish. And now I've learned that self-care is not selfish, but enables me to wake up every day, my best self, strongest self, most energetic self, and maybe even more energetic than I was before, because I've incorporated so many of these things into my own life that I'm better than I was before. And I thought I was in pretty good shape before. So that's where awesome. I would say it's definitely been a different mindset shift for me that has really helped me just continue to empower others to do the same.
Yep, that's awesome. Probably increases happiness too.
Yes.
What about you, Todd?
I would double down on this notion of, I was always so consumed with this concept of servant leadership that, in the process of serving others, I was neglecting myself. And so I do think self-care has been a lesson learned for me. I still remember a daughter at my hospital bedside after all of my daughters argued about what I needed to do better in the future. My youngest daughter started to cry and said, "Dad, I'm scared." And it was one of those moments that I realized that my health event really impacted 5 other people in my life. And it was because I wasn't taking care of myself, ironically. So lesson learned. And then I would also say that it's just been, it's one of those things that if we just passively sit back and don't have more purpose to our health, there are so many forces that are working against us.
Right.
And so becoming better educated about that and doing something about it. So to me, this is really about empowerment at the individual level and at the community level.
That's great. Wonderful. Well, and while you're taking good care of yourself, have fun and do it with friends. Sarah and Todd, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Well, that's the pod. Thanks for joining me this week. Please make sure to subscribe to the podcast and hit the bell so that you never miss an episode. And for more about Iconic Life, please go to iconiclife.com. Until next time, I'm Renee D. We'll see you soon.